Now we come to the first part of the conference after these two inspiring welcoming speeches. Antonella, it's up to you now.
So, hi again, everybody. Nice to meet you. As Mauro just told you, we are in the same room, so physically close, but also safe, fully vaccinated. So it's nice to see you. Just for your curiosity, this is the book. They are on their way to reach you, and they are supposed to arrive in these hours. We gave them to the courier in the last days. So I'm very happy to welcome you all and to thank the participants in this final conference of Pagode very much, because as it is repeated, but it will come more during the days, the pandemic has affected the whole project. We started on the 1st of April 2020. We had to renounce to the kickoff, and the whole project has gone ahead with this limitation. So it is really a good achievement, and we are proud of what we have been able to do, thanks to the collaboration and the interest of all the participants. This final appointment is important for us because we will go through the whole work that has been done in the project. After this opening and the keynote speeches, we will have a session later this morning about the technologies that have been put together for the development of the project. We have two small events this afternoon. One to talk about the future possibilities, the future opportunities at 3 p.m. and another encounter to present you the book and to browse it virtually together at 4:30. Then later in the evening, those who are in Pisa will meet physically. We have the possibility to meet 15 people together here in the museum to have to touch the book with our hands. Tomorrow we will go through a presentation of the various contributions and contributors who joined the Pagode with their contents. And we will conclude the conference with the visit, the tour of the exhibition. We had in mind to have an exhibition physically here at the Museum della Grafica. We have been unlucky, but nevertheless, there is a fantastic digital exhibition, and I'm certain that you will enjoy the virtual tour. We had to reinvent much, but the richness of the resources that have been made available and the strong interest expressed by many institutions all over Europe has been a big encouragement for our work. I must say that we opened a small window on the Chinese cultural heritage in European institutions. And this allowed us just a glance, but what we have found has been really amazing. And I hope that you will share this feeling during the presentation of today. We will address it we will start with a discussion about the meaning of what is the Chinese cultural heritage in Europe, because this has been our first important question that was raised, and we tried to reply to this question from a theoretical point of view with the help of our colleagues at the Department of Asian Studies at the University of Ljubljana, Europeana, but also looking at the contents. So with a very bottom-up approach. We will look at the automatic annotation that has used also artificial intelligence, crowdsourcing, so a combination of the highest, more advanced, the most advanced technologies with the intervention of the people, the collaboration with the students. We ingested more than 16 new contents in Europeana, and these contents have been provided by 11 different institutions in Europe. The program of the conference is very intense, and now I don't want to take more time. You can check the agenda online on the website, and Dunia will put the link to the page of the website. You can see it on the chat. So please look at the chat for the link to the program, and I go straight to the first speaker. Our first keynote speaker is Harry Verwayen. Harry is Executive Director at Europeana Foundation, the foundation that manages Europeana.eu, which is the gateway to cultural heritage in Europe. Pagode Europeana China is one of the projects of what we used to call the Europeana family. And as we can read about Harry on Twitter, he is digital heritage aficionado and optimist. And with this promise, I give the floor to Harry to tell us about Europeana and how Pagode Europeana China is relevant in the frame of the business plan of Europeana.eu. So thank you very much, Harry. The floor is yours.
Yeah, share me.
Thank you.
You may proceed. Yes. Sorry.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you. And hi, everyone. Here is Harry, as you say, Antonella, an optimist, even with this technology. Let me go straight to sharing my screen. So I trust you can see this. Yes. Slides up. Good. I'd like to start with thanking Dr. de Klerk. Thank you for hosting us, even if I'm not physically with you. It was really interesting to hear about your organization, Mr. Fazio and Ms. Tragouda, and very particularly Mr. Xiaowei, the Minister Counsellor at the Mission of the People's Republic of China to the EU. It's great to have you, and I think it's a nice symbol of how this project has allowed us to work much closer together. I'd like to start with this slide. This is bringing us 4 years back in September 2018, and this is where my real interest in what eventually became this project was started. I like to think that, you know, most good things start with a selfie, and that selfie is usually centered around having food together. This is me with Georgia Angelaki, many of you know, and Kostas Konstantinidis, who together with Antonella were really the driving forces between in this project, and really in cementing the relationships between the Europeana Foundation, Europeana at large, and the Chinese cultural heritage sector. So I'd like to thank them for that. We had a fantastic dinner, if I'm not mistaken, from the Hunan cuisine, which I wasn't familiar with at the time. That led a couple of months later to this picture, which is me shaking hands and there's Kostas on the right-hand side. And it symbolizes the memorandum of understanding we signed at that time between the foundation, the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, recursive technologies, and postscriptum. And during that, in that memorandum of understanding, we agreed to focus on working together on three particular areas. We agreed to facilitate cooperation between cultural heritage institutions in Europe and in China. The second thing was we thought we needed to exchange more knowledge between what we're doing here in the sector and what is happening in China. And thirdly, to promote Chinese cultural heritage in Europe and vice versa, European cultural heritage, and particularly the Chinese artifacts, back to China. So that was the starting point of a collaboration that lasted already 4 years now, and that culminated into this, what I think is a really fantastic project. So let me bring you into the Europeana spheres. This is our strategy. We've got a very clear mandate at the moment to support the sector in its digital transformation, empowering digital change, we call that. We have started to dig into that definition. Digital transformation is a big package that everyone can interpret differently. Our working definition, which we published in February after consultation with our network, focuses on the relevance that cultural heritage has and needs to have to the sector, but also to the European society. I think this is a pivotal point, an important point to make. This digital transformation has a purpose, and cultural exchange between different countries and different nations, I think, is at the heart of it. It also states that we're not only interested in the results of the digital transformation, but as much interested in the process of a digital transformation, which brings us into the area of capacity building. And I think that, to me, is exactly what this project has done better than many projects that I've seen in the past. So let's go a bit more into the details. We've got three main priority areas at Europeana. The first one is we'd like to improve our database. Europeana is positioned also in the new Digital Europe program to become the seat, as the Commission calls it, of a cultural heritage data space. And of course, that depends to a very large extent on the quality, the diversity, and the openness of that data. And this project contributed in many areas. We're very thankful for the beautiful collections from these 11 institutions, and also that it helped us to increase the quality levels. Tier 3 and higher means high resolution or reasonably high resolution, and some forms of reuse possible. And I think without that, this project wouldn't have succeeded the way it really has. I'm particularly enthusiastic about certain collections. The travel archives and photography from United Archives, I think, is stunning. It gives us an insight of how Western people saw China in the early 1910s and 1920s. And I'm equally happy with, for example, the collection from promoters, sketches, gravures, and so forth. Again, from the early 1900s. I think that is it's incredibly impressive. So data quality is at the heart of what the project contributed. What do we do with it is the second. So in terms of user engagement, the second priority for Europeana, we brought everything together, into a dedicated thematic space called the Chinese Heritage feature page. And as we can see here, that brings together all the material we had related to China. Some of it we already had, but mostly it was contributed by this project. Blogs, galleries, and recently, of course, the exhibition, which gives us a very rich experience of Chinese collections in Europe. It's already, Jolan Wuits told me, in the top 3 of the most popular feature pages, which tells us a bit about how well this project was promoted, but also what kind of interest there is in this kind of material. So I think that is something that the project can be very proud of. The exhibition, of course, brings everything together. I'm incredibly anxious to read the book. Antonella told me that it's coming my way rather Of course, I would have rather gone your way, but you know, having the book at least will be very nice and interesting read. So thirdly, as I already said, capacity building. And to me, this is the ultimate result of this project. This will live on beyond the project because we've helped organizations to help themselves through these workshops. I'm listing two, the semantic workshop that Yolande was participating in and the technical workshop that I believe Henning Schultz supported. Those two things will have enriched the skill set of several institutions who will therefore be able to contribute more and exchange data after the end of this project. Two more things to mention besides the contributions to the strategy. Europeana Foundation has also had its own view on things. We decided last year that diversity and inclusion should become one of the focal points of our organization. And I think this project really contributed to that. And let me tell you why. We've already had, of course, some material from China, but that material was never contextualized. So there was no narrative around it. And I think that is really what this project brought to Europeana more than anything. And secondly, and this is related to capacity building, we've seen who the partners are in this project. You've reached out even further, working with Fashion Heritage, several other projects and organization in the Europeana constellation. And I thought that that was really remarkable. So finally, of course, we've also promoted Pagode in China, Weibo, the most prominent social media platform in China. There was a digital cultural festival, which brought again a lot of institutions into our realm. And yes, I was moved by Sudan Chen's story, the video she prepared as a winner of the storytelling challenge about how migration is experienced still in Europe by Chinese people from Chinese descent. So that was really remarkable. So in a nutshell, I thought this project brought and opened the whole toolbox of the Europeana experience, but did it in such an excellent way that it really brought, oh, this is something you've already seen, brought the ambition that we started to formulate back in 2018 really to the fore. So I can only say that I'm extremely proud to be part of this project and this network. And thank you for all the hard work you've put into this. So Antonella, back to you.
Thank you very much, Harry. It was nice to hear about the project from your voice, because always coming out of the work gives another perspective. It was really a nice experience to listen to you. We heard from Harry that the focus is on digital transformation. This implies new collaborations, new partnerships, a new vision of cultural liaisons. In this sense, I think that the next speaker is really what we needed to hear. Our second keynote speaker is Mr. Xiaowei. It is we are very proud of your participation. Minister Counsellor of Cultural Affairs at the mission of the People's Republic of China to the European Union. Mr. Xiang is a senior diplomat specialized in culture and tourism area. He used to work in the UK, America, Canada, Malta, and he is currently based in Brussels. Today, he will share with us some information about the current situation in China regarding digitization, digitalization, the difference between making digital and using the digital resources, transforming the institutions that are producing and generating digital resources, aimed at valuing and protecting the cultural heritage. I'm proud to give the floor to Mr. Xiaowei. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Antonella. Dr. Clerk, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me great pleasure to join you at the final conference Pagode project, Discovering Chinese Cultural Heritage in Europeana. For many years, we've seen with great terror that some of the human cultural heritage has disappeared in war, by time, and also by human disasters. We've seen with terror the big flames taken over the National Museum of Brazil, our very esteemed the Notre Dame Cathedral, and recently the castle, the Suri Castle, a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Naha, Okinawa, Japan. All these disasters remind us how fragile this human heritage at all times, and we must have a new breakthrough as how to record and preserve this world cultural heritage. Many of our colleagues have shared their own experience and discoveries and in their daily works. Now I'm going to start from a national level, from the government's level, on how we govern and look at the digitalization and introduction of this technology in the cultural heritage site. Today, the rapid development of digital and internet technology undoubtedly provide us with a new way of thinking, new methodology, and new possibility for protecting cultural heritage, tangible and intangible. Modern digital and internet technology have opened a new era in museum undertaking, in recording, protection, research, and understanding of a cultural heritage. The digital technology has completely broken the boundaries in the conventional model of practitioners, greatly enrich our tools and improve our efficiency in cultural relics protection and preservation. At the same time, it also creates a golden channel for people to access, promote, and create implications of cultural heritage. Today, concept of digital museum and application of digital technology to archaeology and research have become an important means of cultural relics protection and inheritance. I would like to use this opportunity to thank the support and efforts by the European Commission and the Pagode project team. We have the opportunity to share for the first time on the Europeana platform the good practice and experience of application of digital technology to cultural heritage protection in China and in Europe, making it possible for more European people to access and understand Chinese cultural heritage. At the same time, it's also a good start for both China and our European counterparts to share such experience in this area. Chinese President Xi Jinping pointed out the protection of cultural relics benefits not only for today, but for the future. Cultural relics are a splendid vehicle to inherit a nation's culture and history and maintain the national spirit. It's a precious legacy bestowed to us. He specifically pointed out that information technology has brought to the Chinese nation a golden opportunity for development, and a cyberspace is a common spiritual homeland of millions of Chinese people. It is necessary to promote the creative thinking in the efforts of transforming and developing Chinese civilization to the new era with the pace of time. The Chinese government attached great importance to the protection of cultural heritage and lifted it up to a national strategy. It has established a national cultural heritage protection mechanism led by the government, facilitated by the institutions, and done by the professionals. The method was effectively testified by a series of fruitful practice. Positive progress has been quite noticeable in the category of digitalization. Today, China has established and perfected the law and management system for the protection of tangible and intangible cultural heritage. The main achievements are China has promulgated the law on the protection of Chinese relics of the People's Republic of China in 1982, the Intangible Cultural Heritage Law of China in 2011, and since 2006, we appointed the Cultural Heritage Day and into our national holiday calendar. China also passed regulations and opinions on strengthening the reform and protection and utilization of cultural relics. We have conducted several major surveys on our cultural relics since 1956, and we have recorded over 767,000 immovable cultural relics and 40 million sets of movable cultural relics. From 1979, China has carried out a survey on ethnic, folklore, and literature and arts. So far, we have built up a database collecting over more than 470 million words and 3,018 volumes of data. And from 2005 to 2009, China has carried out a nationwide survey on intangible cultural heritage, collecting 290,000 precious objects and titles, 2 billion words in written record, 230,000 hours of audio recordings, and compilation of 140,000 copies of data. The total collectibles are nearly 870,000 items. Through these surveys, we have a full mastery of the category, quantity, distribution, life environment, and stakeholder of this cultural intangible heritage. And that's really give us a very strong base for our further cultural heritage protection and preservation. On application of digital technology on cultural relics protection, following the guideline of opinion of strengthening the reform of cultural relics protection utilization, China has concluded the research and pioneer projects of key technology for the protection and into the National Key Research Development Plan. This is an academic funding mechanism that really fund the major key areas in social science and natural science areas. The National Innovation Center and Laboratory in key fields of cultural relics protection have been established. By implementing Internet plus Chinese Civilization Action Plan, we have seen a full use of information technology in metadata, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and other technology in cultural heritage protection and research, and strives to more inclusion of digital and information innovations into cultural heritage field. At present, by introducing and widely utilizing digital and information technology in archaeology management and museum exhibitions, we managed to transform the methodology and means in recording, protection, research, innovation, and display of Chinese cultural heritage in museums and in the field. The progress provides us with new possibilities for the public to access and enjoy our cultural heritage in a much more broader sense. Looking back in the period from 1980s to 1990s, China managed to successfully conclude the Phase 1 plan, Intangible Cultural Heritage Protection Projects, including the coverage and digitalization and recording on ancient ruins and sites, buildings, grottos, villages, and intangible cultural heritage presented by ancient museum, traditional plays and dramas, folklore and custom, etc. Based on digital duplication and digital image recording, we have made important progress in the digitalization and construction of our database of resources, cultural relics, information collections, and restoration. So far, we have completed a total of 767,000 immovable cultural relics and digital cataloging and archiving of 108 million pieces and sets of movable cultural relics in state-owned collections. And there are also 3.46 million pieces of movable cultural relics in over 10,000 cultural institutions are open to the public. High-resolution real-life 3D digital modeling, virtual reality, and panoramic presentation technology are widely used in the digital protection of cultural heritage in China, and to ensure that a group of precious and fragile heritage information, such as Mogul Grotto, is scientifically archived, recorded, and effectively preserved. The damaged unearthed cultural relics can be more scientifically and accurately restored and preserved. In field of archaeology and in areas such as museum security system, world cultural heritage site monitoring, digital surveys, the application of artificial intelligence, unmanned drone, and satellite remote sensing technologies have been implemented to improve the effectiveness of protection of immovable cultural relics. While focusing on the new tech or on the protection, we also employ digital and information technology to increase the innovation integration of museum exhibitions, cloud exhibition, and new projects in culture and creative industry. The State Administration of Cultural Heritage, together with Ministry of Culture and Tourism and other 5 cabinet ministries and commissions, jointly implemented the Internet plus Chinese Civilization, a 3-year action plan, implemented 120 model and pioneer projects, covering more than 5,000 museums, cultural research institutions, creative enterprises across the country, optimizing the ecosystem of the culture and museum cycle. The application of Liangzhu Ancient City Site project has over 1.3 billion online visits, and the return of Bronze Horse Head of Yuanmingyuan also has won 2 billion of internet visit. Projects such as If National Treasure Can Talk, National Treasure, Forbidden City Renew, A Date with the Museum, Lady General Fu Hao and New Discovery, cross-border projects of integrate the digital products such as IP incubation of cultural innovation research and development, the Great Silk Road site, and other digital products have also constructed a new style of cultural IP. Digital products such as the Cultural Relics of China shows you, Digital Forbidden City as a tour in Dunhuang and are the new landmarks that open to global audience and aim to promote exchange and mutual learning between China and countries in the music and culture heritage. During the period of China's 5th five-year plan, China will continue with our efforts in this area and fasten our steps and in digitalization in the field of cultural relics protection and incubation and utilization of new digital technology. The areas are quite broad. I will just simply, for the sake of time, I'm going to jump over this area. But if you have an interest to inquire the mainstream of the projects, we are more than welcome if you can communicate with us through email. And our email address will be later forwarded to the platform. As to China and European relations, President Xi pointed out that the world's two major forces, 2 major markets and 2 major civilizations, what China and the EU advocates, oppose, and collaborate on is the world's significance. As far as Europe is concerned, China is a partner, not opponent. There's no fundamental conflict of interest between China and Europe. Possible chances of collaboration are far greater than competition, and the chances to reach consensus is far above differences. China and Europe should respect each other's core interests and seek common ground while preserving differences. Let us be harmonious but different. Let us commit ourselves to increase mutual understanding and trust. Let us join hands to expand common interests in collaboration, to solve difficult problems in the process of development, and forge a much more stronger, comprehensive, and strategic partnership between China and the EU with greater global influence. Maintaining a substantial, healthy, and stable China-EU relation is crucial to maintain world peace and stability. And this is going to be a key contributor to global development, especially at the time of post-pandemic era, especially when some countries have advocated what is called the vague concept of value-based diplomacy against China, an idea of promotion of rule-based order. So it is quite undoubtedly a crucial time for our cultural circles to stand out and exemplify ourselves by the good practice of collaboration between China and European countries. As China's diplomatic mission to the European Union, the Chinese mission bears the responsibility for the promotion of collaboration in all fields between China and Europe, between China, EU, member states, and our people. The Education and Culture Office under the mission represents different cultural departments of Chinese government, ranging from culture, education, tourism, cultural heritage, and sports. The office seeks to build a strong tie with pan-European cultural and educational institutions, with cultural and tourism industry, with associations in education, culture, and cultural heritage, etc. We will be willing to facilitate any in-depth and on-the-ground projects between the institutions and industry, which we hope we can contribute to bring added-on values to the practitioner and institutions involved from both sides. Today, we are very privileged to be invited and participate in the Pagode project through the Europeana platform, through which we can make more friends and join hands in coordinating, supporting, and promoting more substantial and sustainable projects in Sino-European cultural relics protection. By doing so, we hope these projects may benefit not only just professional progress in cultural protections, but also bring new business opportunities to enterprises in the culture and creative industry, both in China and in Europe. Last but not least, I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks to Dr. Kyriaki and also to Dr. Fazio and to Harry, and also, of course, my coordinator from Constantine Dinas for inviting us to join this conference today, and hope our colleagues would have a wonderful time and with this project, and looking forward to more fruitful results. Let's hope everyone peace and good health, and hope you really enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you really very much, Mr. Xiang. I think that your speech made clear how the tension between the value of protection and the value of sharing cultural heritage is creating a lot of new opportunities for all of us. And it is in this tension that we can exercise our creative thinking. I think that this wording was very much in line with what we have done in Pagode. The opportunities to continue our work are enormous, and we have experienced the interest of all our partners in carry on the work that has been done so far, and the words of Mr. Xiang has been really encouraging. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we arrive here to the third speech that concludes the opening of today with an introductory words from Kyriaki Tragouda. She is the project officer appointed by the executive agency of the European Commission, which is responsible for the management of the EU funds of the Connecting Europe facility program. The program is the program that funded Pagode Europeana China, and Kyriaki has been our project officer since the beginning of the project. We started in April 2020. As we already said, we never had the opportunity to meet face to face, but we have been constantly in contact with our project officer to report about the progress of our work, to get advice, to put questions, and to receive replies. The relationship between the project and the Commission, and in this case the agency of the Commission, is strategic for the successful conclusion and the results produced by the action. So in this sense, we would like to express really our thankfulness to Kyriaki for the advice that we got during the whole project. Well, the floor is yours, and we are happy to hear your words. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Antonella. Good morning, everybody. I would like as well to express my gratefulness for the great cooperation that we had and we still have. I'm very happy for having the opportunity to follow the final conference of Pagode project today and tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to the presentation of the main outcomes of the project and to see how the project is contributing to the improvement of the accessibility and user engagement in the Europeana platform. There are already some very interesting things that they have been said, but I'm looking forward for more details in this respect. This project, as you mentioned, Antonella, has been selected to receive financial support from Connecting Europe Facility Telecom Program. Health and Digital Executive Agency is the responsible executive agency of the European Commission for monitoring the financial and technical implementation of Europeana generic services projects and of course of Pagode since 1st of April 2021. So it's a newly established agency, and for this reason, I would like as well to say a few words for the mission of this executive agency. So the mission is to implement projects that strengthen Europe in the domains of health, food safety, digital technologies, networks, industrial capacities, and space. So as you see, it has a very broad portfolio, and I'm a part of this big team. I work for the digital technologies team in Health and Digital Executive Agency. I wouldn't like to consume much of your time with other details because I think that all of us are looking forward to see the main outcomes of the project. I assume that many of you would be interested to be informed on new funding opportunities. For this reason, I would strongly encourage you to stay tuned for opportunities that will arise from the Digital Europe program in the very near future. So that's from me. I thank you once more for the invitation, and I wish you an excellent continuation for the conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kyriaki. Well, this concludes the speeches of the opening session. As you read in the chat, if we have questions to Mr. Xiaowei, we have the email of his office and we can talk to him directly via email. I don't know if there are questions to Harry and Kyriaki, and maybe some of our colleagues have something to say. No, I see that Dunia didn't receive any request of intervention. So I would express again my strong appreciation for the words that we received during this opening session. As you have seen, there are different points of view that combined in Pagode. The point of view of Europeana, that is to give access to cultural heritage in the various forms that can be represented digitally on Europeana.eu, to establish liaisons, dialogue, and new collaborations with the cultural heritage institutions of China, and in this sense, the work that has been conducted by our colleague Costas at Postscriptum has been really fundamental to give to Pagode the scope that is also beyond the even interesting technical results, but we believe that the Pagode has opened a new way of collaboration between European and other institutions in the world. And the point of view of the performance of the project, because we are using taxpayers' money, we are very much aware of the benefit that we receive through the grant from the Commission, and we wanted to be as much as possible focused and aligned with our grant agreement. So these 3 points of view have been our guidance during the project. Maybe to conclude this opening, I would give the floor to Costas for a few words about connecting with Chinese institutions, and this could be a good warm-up also for the second session that will come after the coffee break, and that will start again from understanding what is a Chinese cultural heritage in the European institutions that we treated in Pagode. So I would suggest that we give the floor for a few minutes to Costas, and then I give back to our colleagues in Ljubljana the description of the next organization of the day. So please, Costas, the floor is yours.
Yes, hello everybody. Good morning from Athens. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm really glad and thankful to be here after 18 months of hard work, and I'm really thankful to the lady that just said my name, Antonella. Antonella is an inspiring person, is a driving force, is a really Europeana lady, and I really thank her for all the efforts that she made for this project, because I think it's really something that we all envisaged and dreamed of, to really show the interest of Europe for Chinese heritage. My driving, let's say, force for China was some Chinese friends I had here in Greece, and inspired me about Chinese culture. And then I went to Europeana and asked Harry and also I forgot the name of his predecessor. Anyway, I asked Harry for the permission to represent Europeana in China, and I was very glad that I got this permission. And I'm really had feel this role of evangelizing European culture to China a very significant one, and also of bringing Chinese cultural organizations near to Europeana is something that I think it's full of substantial value. And Pagode project is the first stepping stone towards this direction, and it's something with tangible results and something that we can really be proud of, because in a very short time, with a limited budget, we have succeeded, I think, a very substantial amount of cultural heritage in European institutions, and mainly we have given the presence in China for being willing to cooperate. And I really have to thank Mr. Xiaowei for his presence today and his inspiring speech, because I think this gives us the opportunity, and Europeana, to cooperate in various projects above and beyond. And this will be also the subject of my speech today, this afternoon. And I will be glad to see you this afternoon as well, everybody. Thank you again, everybody, all the partners. They were super, and I'm very glad to be part of this project. Thank you, Antonella, again.